Alta Labs has sent over their highly anticipated Wi-Fi 7 capable access point, the AP7-Pro. This is a tri-band access point that has a 10 gigabit per second Ethernet port on the back of it, which is great to see because that will give us plenty of bandwidth for all of our clients. We'll set this aside for now and talk about it later. So in the box, we do have our quick start guide. This is pretty common with the rest of their devices. A new addition is this new metal bracket, and in theory, this should make installation a lot easier. You'll also be happy to know that the access point will work with your existing plastic brackets on the older models like the AP6 and AP6 Pro. So that's really great to see that this device is backwards compatible. And then of course, we have our mounting screws in here, and then we have a mounting bracket as well. The new mounting plate has been redesigned to make it more flexible for different types of wall boxes. There's additional holes that didn't used to exist before, like on the plastic mount, we have this one up here now. We also have a vertical hole as opposed to a horizontal one that used to exist on the plastic one. And I believe there was also a horizontal one here that's now been removed or has changed positions more over here. I don't really exactly recall where the mounting holes are. But it's nice to see that they put some thought in this to make it more flexible. And with it being metal, I think everyone's going to be pretty happy with these changes overall. One of the first things everybody will notice when they first pick this up, besides how large it is how heavy it is. This thing weighs just over 2 pounds, I believe 2.3 pounds to be exact. So it's quite heavy. That means there's a lot of metal in here to keep these components cool. And just to give you a size comparison, this is an AP6. And you can tell that the new pill-shaped design is quite large. For a little bit more perspective, this is the Omada EAP787. As you can tell, they are pretty close to the same size in terms of, I guess, height, maybe diameter, whatever, but just kind of overlaying them a little bit. You can tell that this one's clearly gonna be taller because it's a full circle compared to the pill shape. So quite large, but nothing too extreme at the same token. Continue on with aesthetics, one of the differences is the actual paint between the two. I would describe this as more of like reflective, and this has a bit of texture to it. Not quite exactly like an eggshell, but it's got an eggshell feel, and the colors are a bit different. I actually think I prefer this color a lot more, and also the texture a lot more than the previous model. It actually makes it feel and look much more high quality versus a cheaper kind of plastic. Now on to more important topics, specifically the Wi-Fi. So this is obviously a Wi-Fi 7 device, meaning the 6 gigahertz band has 2x2 MIMO, or 2 streams sending, 2 streams receiving. The 5 gigahertz band is 4x4, and the 2.4 gigahertz is 2x2 as well. So I think that's gonna be a pretty good happy medium in terms of Wi-Fi 7 devices. So yeah, not too much to say there beyond that. Now, as we mentioned before, this does have a 10 gigabit port on it. And if you want to get 10 gigabit bandwidth, you are going to need PoE++. We have seen this before, for instance, on the EAP787. You must provide PoE++ to get those 10 gigabit speeds. If you are unable to do that, let's say at PoE+, you'll be restrained to 2.5 gigabit per second, which again is pretty common. This is nothing new and not exclusive to Alta Labs either. And did I miss a screw? So far I've removed 1, 2, 3 screws, and you can see there's a little scuff marks there. Not a big deal. No one's actually going to be taking this thing apart, I don't believe, but I did want to point that out. So when you people see that it is damaged, it is not because of me. It was already like that from factory. I didn't do anything. So I'm thinking there might be additional screws underneath this plate. So I think we are going to have to pull up this plate that's being held down by thermal pads. Whoops. Yep, being held by thermal pads for sure. And I was right, there are additional screws that need to be removed in order to remove the entire PCB. So let's remove that. Oh, it actually looks like these are pretty easy. The antennae are pretty easy to remove, or at least the wires. So I'm gonna pop off all these wires just so we can get this completely out of the way. There we go. Oh, there's one more. There it is. I was wondering where that was. Cool. Plate removed. There we go. Now we have better, easier access. I really hope these screws are all the same size, because I definitely didn't make sure to keep them separated just in case they are different heights. Doesn't look like they are, so we'll just do this. Or different threads. I don't even know if they're different threads. I just literally started ripping this thing apart. Not great. My assumption here is that this is also going to have thermal pads holding it down. And there's not really any good pry points. So let's grab some tools. And we'll just try and... Yeah, there's definitely thermal paste underneath there, but thermal pads underneath there, but it came right up. All right, there we go. How awesome is that? So let's take a closer look at the PCB. Not sure how much there is to glean from here, but just wanted to give an idea to everybody of what we're looking at. Now we have it flipped over. Again, not really too much to see. Reassembly should be easy, and thankfully they labeled the where the antenna goes, so I should have no problems getting this thing reassembled, because that's actually not something I considered when I was taking it apart. I just started ripping it apart like I mentioned earlier. So thank you for labeling the PCB where the antennae wire go, because I totally would have screwed that up. Now some of you probably noticed this doesn't have a fan, so you're probably wondering how they're going to keep it cool without a fan. And while that might be a bit controversial, I think that's a good play, because this thing will have one less point of failure since there is no moving parts, no fan. Now that is the reason why this thing is so heavy, because it's basically just a bunch of components on a metal plate. So I for one am applauding Alta Labs on that decision to not include a fan. And again, Alta Labs isn't doing anything different than other brands. You know, we've seen this before, like with the Amada access point itself. And that's just what's required to get to those very high speeds. Awesome, it's reassembled, and there is one final thing I want to note about this. This does have a reset button on the rear, so you can factory reset this device if you need, just by pressing and holding the reset button. If you're one of the folks that don't have a PoE switch or a switch that can provide PoE++, you can actually buy an adapter, a PoE injector to be more specific. You will need a 48 volt, 1.25 amp PoE injector in order to supply this thing with enough power to hit those 10 gigabit per second speeds. It's time to get this thing set up and adopted into our network. So we are here in the network tab to set up our new access point. So we'll click on setup. One or more devices is out of date. I suppose that is normal. So let's actually just go ahead and name it really quickly before we forget. So that's AP7-Pro, and wow, yep, it's getting adopted very quickly. I have turned off the AP6-Pro because I've replaced the AP7 with the AP6, so that's why this device is showing disconnected. I believe that's pretty obvious, but I wanted to state that anyway. Now let's go ahead and get this updated now, and we can do some speed tests. As per usual, I have centrally mounted the access point in my home and stood at various places around my house, and of course ran the speed tests. I averaged the results for both the 6 GHz and 5 GHz bands, and did not test the 2.4 GHz band because we are here for raw bandwidth after all. I'd recommend pausing the video if you need more time to ingest the results. Just as a bit of a point of comparison, here is a side-by-side of the AP7-Pro and the Amada EAP787, which is also a Wi-Fi 7 10 gigabit capable access point. Let's go ahead and take a look at the software. So specifically targeting the AP7. So we're going to go through this, and here are the different channels for the 2 GHz band. We have everything from 1 to 11. And the 5 gigahertz band, we have all of these channels. All right. And of course, you can always pause this if you need to take a look. And then, of course, we have the 240 megahertz width available to us on the 5 gigahertz channel. Looking at the 6 gigahertz band, we see the various channels that are available as well in our preferred scanning channels. So there are tons of channels here. So many. Awesome. And then we also have our, I need to scroll down. Also have the 320 megahertz and 160, which I think, the whole reason to have 6 gigahertz are for these big bands. So those are available there. Let's go on advance. You can change your transmission power. All right. We also have the option to manually adjust. So we have high, medium, low, and that's available for all of these. Let's go over to settings. Of course, we can set this as DHCP or set a static IP address, change the management VLAN, fallback, always on, audit meshing, which is always on by default. We can change the LED. This is awesome that we can change the LED color. Of course, you can turn that off. That's a big thing for some people that don't like the LEDs at night when they're trying to sleep, wherever you have that mounted. Okay, that's pretty much all the options here. And now let's go over to info. So we have the ability to do some scanning. So let's go ahead and click on full scan here, and we'll let that cook. And of course, we can also see connected devices and see what channels are on and get an idea of their signal strength as well. So this is pretty nifty. And of course, there's a little graph here that gives us some history. Now, while this cooks, let's bring up the AP6 wall and just kind of take a look at the differences. So we have the 5 gigahertz band here. We have DFS channels available to us, and we didn't have those available on the AP7, which is probably okay because we do have 6 gigahertz. So if we go over settings, some more differences between the two. We can actually see what port we're plugged into, and then we can modify information here, even the operating speed. So that's really cool. We're missing that from the AP7-Pro. I'm sure they can add this later. We got our VLAN setup, network, manage VLAN, temperature. So, okay, we have radius, that's missing. And then we also have traffic, that's missing. Now this may be not available to the AP7 because you can actually plug in a desktop to the AP6 wall, right? So in this case, there literally is something plugged into the AP6 wall because this does pass through and the AP7-Pro does not. Let's go to advance. All right, we are missing priority. So this has different priorities available. Look at all that. Wow. Okay. And now let's go to info. Oh, looks like the scan failed. Let's just do a quick scan while we do this. I think these are the same. Yeah, these are pretty much the same. So no differences here. And the quick scan completed. So that's pretty cool. So we can see all the different systems, or I'm sorry, other Wi-Fi that are interfering with our Wi-Fi, and gives us a nice little chart here and breakout. This is really nice to have. And then we can do that for the 5 gigahertz band as well, and the 6 gigahertz band as well. Very cool stuff. I'm going to point out, so as you can see, I don't have a 10 gig switch listed here, and that's because the AP7-Pro is actually plugged into a competing brand 10 gigabit PoE++ capable switch. And I actually have no way to know the link speed of the AP7-Pro because of that. So this could be operating at, in theory, 2.5 gigabit or even gigabit speeds, and I would have no way of knowing because there's not a way for me to quickly glance at the speed. Now, as far as I can tell, there's actually no way to see the link speed of any of their devices through here. And just for fun, while we're here, let's just go ahead and check. So we know that the AP6W is plugged into port 3. So if we click on port 3, I'm not seeing any information about the link speed at all, which is, I guess if you have a 1 gigabit switch, so this S16 is all 1 gig. So you would know these are all 1 gigabit per second ports. So, maybe you could argue that that's not necessary in this case because the S16 is all 1 gigabit. But still, I think it would be nice to have. Just a quick little way to glance at the link speed. I don't think that's asking too much. Almost every other brand at least tells you the link speed somewhere. That would be helpful. Now, the reason we don't have the link speed available to us, because like I said, I'm using a third-party switch. So it actually looks like my AP7-Pro is a bridge from the rest of the network because I am using a competing brand to get that PoE++ and 10 gigabit speeds available to the AP7. And if you're using a PoE injector, I think you would also suffer by not knowing the link speed as well. So just my suggestion, not a big deal, but it would definitely be nice to have. The keen-eyed among you have already noticed that MLO was not available anywhere in the UI. And I think that was a smart move by Alta Labs to not include that, because that could potentially hurt their brand and their offering, as a lot of people don't know that their iPhone doesn't actually work very well with MLO technology. Now, we haven't just seen this with Armada or even Alta Labs. We've seen this problem across other brands like Asus, GLINet, and so forth. The technology is kind of hit or miss right now, and there needs to be improvements from Apple and Android devices to really meld the two together for MLO to be capable. So I'd be really curious to know your guys' thoughts about MLO not being included out of the box. Should they have just done it and kept it disabled by default and still given us the option? I don't know, and that's why I'm asking you guys. If it wasn't already obvious from this video, I think it's time for Alta Labs to release their 10 gigabit capable PoE++ switch, because the AP7-Pro now exists and you have to use a PoE injector or a competing brand to power it. So I can't wait for that product to release. Don't know when that will be, but I am definitely personally excited to see that. So with all that being said, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Thank you Alta Labs for sending over the AP7-Pro for us to check out, and I will see you all next time. Peace.